Robstar gang, what up? What up? Good evening. Welcome to the Robstar Report. Appreciate you guys coming in tonight. Appreciate you guys coming in. Shout out to everyone already in the chat. What's up, Miss Douglas? What's up, the bee's knees? What else we got in here? Who else we got in here? We got SC Panthers boy. What's up, man? Early Locklear was good. Hit that like button on the way in, chat. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, y'all see it, man. Y'all see the title of this live stream? Panthers in trouble? Question mark. Bryce Young struggles. Canales mistakes. Rico Dowdle's injury. Just a lot of drama, man. A lot of drama around this team right now. It's crazy because it's like this is the most we've seen this team really have success in a very long time in a short span, really, And, this is a game that I just felt like this past game, it's like, I know we're harping on it, but we really need to talk about a lot of these things that a lot of people aren't. Right? Like, yeah, we could talk about the Bryce thing, which we already alluded to on Monday night, but talked about it last night on the roundtable, just like Ms. Douglas came in and says, I got a chance to catch the roundtable for the first time yesterday. Super dope. It is. It's great, man. It's great. It's about time for a new quarterback, Clay. Bryce is not it. Yeah. But, I'm not going to put it all on Bryce, man. It wasn't just the players who dropped the ball. The complacency ran deeper than that, man. The complacency runs deeper than that. That's why there's a lot more to it than I think people truly realize. There's more to it than I think people truly realize, right? I think I really do. I think there's more to this narrative that we're seeing than a lot of people realize, right? I don't know, man. What does Brad Ezek do? It's a good question. What does that Brad Ezek do? Palmetto Panther. That is a good question. What exactly does he do? What's he even here for? Right? What's he even here for? You know what I mean? It's like this team is in trouble, for being honest. I mean, it's like it's like you've got former NFL players out here. Okay? You got analysts revealing why Bryce Young is struggling. You've got a lot. You've got a lot. Like, I mean, let's be honest, man. You've got a lot riding on the line, Bryce. That's the thing. You are in your third year, man. People keep saying, I had someone comment on my thing, like one of my videos saying, well, it took 5-6 years to Sam Darnold. I just don't get how people can sit here and talk about Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, talking about, well, it took them 5 years, 6 years, whatever it is. Like, Sam Darnold was here, okay? Not the best situation at the time, okay? Not the best situation at the time. Same thing with Baker Mayfield. Was Baker Mayfield used correctly? The thing is we just can't sit here and just be like everything's hunky dory, and that Bryce is gonna pull it together in year 3. And you go look at the kid's career records, you go look at the kid's career numbers, you go look at the turnovers, you look at everything. I think there's a question like, does Bryce Young still have hope? Because it's fading fast. Because here's the thing, we've also seen, and I hate saying this, we've also seen, we've also we've also seen good quarterbacks come and go here in Carolina, like Bryce Young. I mean, not like Bryce Young. Sorry, we've seen good quarterbacks come and go. Right. I mean, I guess it's. I've been trying to wrap my head around this, man. Like I really have. Like I'm all over the place with everything. I am. My feelings are torn because again, I was never anti Bryce, but I was never fully on Bryce either. I was never fully on Bryce either. You know what I mean? We can't expect Bryce to make it 5 years. We can't expect to wait around for Bryce for 5 years. We can't wait him for 6 years. It took people say it took Baker Mayfield 5, 6 years. Did you not watch Baker Mayfield in his rookie season in Cleveland? Did anybody watch him? I saw a guy that was way better than Bryce in his rookie year. I guarantee you right now, Cleveland is kicking themselves for letting that one go. I guarantee you they're kicking themselves for letting that one go. You go look at like again, we gave him a slide. We gave him a slide because of his rookie year because of that offensive line. We gave him a slide of his rookie year because of the wide receivers. His wide receivers, two of his wide receivers, main targets, his wide receiver 1 and basically his wide receiver 2 in DJ Chark and Jonathan Mingo. When Bryce's rookie year, DJ Chark ranked number 10 in the worst separation his rookie year. Jonathan Mingo was number 2 in the league for worst separation his rookie year. Okay. They fire Frank Wright. They get rid of him. They fire the GM and Scott Fitterer. They bring in Dave Canales, this guy who was supposed to be the quarterback guru, who apparently, right? Who apparently was this, this is this quarterback guru, right? He came out and he was like, okay, like he's revitalized Geno in Seattle. He revitalized Bryce had Thielen his rookie year. Yeah, that he did have that, but that was his only guy, is what I'm saying, broski. The other 2 guys is what I was getting at in his rookie year. They were bottom, both of them were bottom 2. They were in the top 10 of worst separation rates in the NFL in DJ Chark and in Jonathan Mingo. Yes, he had Thielen, but that's it. He still had, let's not forget, he had Ian Thomas and Tommy Tremble at the tight end position. What has Tommy Tremble done? Is Tommy Tremble basically another Ian Thomas? What has Tommy Tremble done? Has he done more than Ian Thomas? Yeah. He's a great blocker. Are we using Mitchell Evans correctly? Are we using the tools we have here correctly? Because this does go down to the coaching. There's a lot of questions that aren't being answered. And are we hitting the panic button a little bit? Yeah, kind of. Because I was talking to my brother-in-law tonight, who's a huge Saints fan. Okay. And I said, he goes, what happened? Like he goes, I thought you guys should have won this game. Y'all should have been able to beat us. And TJ, of course, last night on the Roundtable Sports made some good points too. But if any team is smart in the NFL and that going forward watches any film, just watch the Saints film. The Saints, all they had to do was stop Rico Dowdle and force the ball into Bryce Young's hands, and they forced him to beat you. I posted a short last night, guys. I broke down 3 clips of film in that short. Bryce Young in the film that I broke down was Russian throws. When we broke some film down on Monday, you saw him rush some throws. You saw him miss some guys as well. The line was not bad. It's not like the offensive line was bad. It's not like these guys aren't getting open. I think Bryce Young is scared. He's playing scared. He's rushing throws. He's not giving a chance for the play to actually develop. You know what I mean? Like, let's pull up Bryce's stats real quick. And we're going to talk about Bryce here for a second. And I'll get into I saw your super chat, Vietnam. I appreciate you. I'll get to it here in a second. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. I got you, brother. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the support. I love StatMuse. I don't know why I like StatMuse. If anybody has ever used StatMuse, it's pretty cool. I like it. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to sign up. I don't want to join. Can I sign in? Or can I sign up? They want me to do $20. Hell no. I ain't doing no $20 a month. I ain't doing no $20 a month. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to the 42 people on the YouTube, 6 others on the on X, and 1 person on Twitch. Okay. So Bryce Young, stats at this point in his career. Let's go overview. Here's the crazy part, chat. This is the craziest part about looking at this right here. This is the crazy part, chat, looking at Bryce Young's stats this year. Look how many times he's been sacked this year. Only 14 in 10 games. What does that tell you? It's not the offensive line. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. Here is the thing, chat. Here is the thing. I think Bryce can be a good quarterback. I just don't think it can be here. I just don't think he can be a good quarterback here. I just don't. I really do. Because I see the talent. The thing is that he just can't be good here. This is a marriage that has ran its course, and you got to put the divorce papers in. I said it the other night. The problem is he's too inconsistent. Sure, there are glaring flaws in his game. His frame, his pocket awareness, his inability to stretch the field consistently, but the guy has some rare traits. I do think he's smart. I do think he can be composed. And when he is, when he's in rhythm, he makes throws young quarterbacks just can't, right? The problem is that version of Bryce shows up about once every 3 weeks. Maybe it's the coaching. Maybe it's the offensive line. It can't be, though, because you see the stats. And before y'all jump all over me saying, well, Clay, you were just saying you're done with him. Let me finish, okay? You say that then there's people out there saying, well, there's this endless carousel of receivers who can't separate to save their lives. That's not true. We watched game film. I broke game film twice on this show this week. That's not true. But whatever it is, something's broken. It's fair to wonder if Carolina is the place where it's fair to wonder if Carolina is the place where he ever figures it out. Let's be honest. This coaching staff deserves a massive share of blame here. Last year, they found what worked late in the season. Quick reads, tempo, little misdirection. Then they just abandoned it this year. It never existed. They stripped away the parts of the offense that actually made Bryce comfortable. Now he's just hanging out in the pocket waiting for a miracle, it seems like. But Bryce might still become a quarterback, but just elsewhere. I just don't think it's in Charlotte. But here's the thing. We're officially stuck at quarterback. Let's play out the likely scenario here. Say we stumble through the rest of the season, right? 5, 6, maybe 7 wins if we're lucky. That's not bad enough for a top draft pick, but it's not give anyone real confidence either. At the end of it all, the front office is going to have to look in the mirror and ask, what the hell do we do now? Because every direction sucks, right? You go out to the draft, forget it. This year's 2026 depth and the quarterback draft class is trash. There's not a QB that jumps off the charts to me. There's depth, but there's not a ton of elite talent. There's not a guy who's going to step in this role and just immediately become QB1. Even if there was, we were not in position to make that pick because we'll be at a brutal, like, middle tier pick. Too good to land a top spot prospect. Too bad to be excited about anything else. Taking a flyer on some third-round project. I mean, come on. That's not how you find your franchise guy. That's how you end up wasting 3 more years pretending you have one. If the plan is to stick for Bryce for another season, let's be real, they might not have a choice. But we're stuck in a cycle to mediocrity to the draft, the next guy, but too lost to actually develop the one we have. Now, the 2027 class, I would bet my money on that draft class is going to be top dollar for a quarterback. I will bet the top dollar that is where you're going to get your quarterback in the 2027 draft class. What's up, Poppin'? Poppin', I'm live like almost every day, brother. I'm almost live every day. I'm bringing content everywhere. Driver was good, man. Now Bryce does miss open, like Jimmy Horn Jr. He missed Xavier Legette multiple times in this game. Guys, I hear you. I watched the tape. We broke down the tape. There was multiple times XL was open in this game. Okay? Don't let it fool you. The route running is not an issue. He's getting open. Your quarterback is the one who's missing him. There was multiple. He go to the short. I showed like 2 plays that he should have had Coker on, and one play. Actually, I showed 2 plays. He had Coker on one that he missed, and he had 2. He had another play that he missed Coker and XL, and he had one that should have went to the flat on Chuba Hubbard. The one that should have went to the flat on Chuba Hubbard was the one he threw that pick to Alontae Taylor. I got film, man. It's not that hard. The film don't lie. Pavia equals Manziel 2.0. Hold us Sasha one more year. It seems like it. What's up, SC Panthers boy? Bryce should resign. That's not going to happen. I would have waited for a second round and got Lab, but we got XL. He will come around with the right quarterback. XL will be fine, man. XL will be fine. Kurt Warner was an undrafted free agent. Nom, do you know how often Kurt Warner's come around in this league? Just saying. Papa says, I've been sending people your way too. I appreciate that, Poppin. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. Appreciate that. Bees knees, what's up? We put all our eggs in one basket. Bryce is young. Bryce Young basket. Probably 6 foot. We need a bigger quarterback. Absolutely. Man, Bryce gonna be here next year because Tepper ain't gonna pay him to go elsewhere. Hey, CJ, you're probably right, bro. You probably right. Fucking Tepper, man. Fucking lemon drop head David Tepper. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Ain't that something else? CJ, by the way, your TikToks. By the way, if none of y'all follow CJ on TikTok, you got to. His like morning after in the car make up Carolina Panthers songs whether they lose or win is the funniest shit I've ever. It's like it's awesome. It's awesome. CJ might have to get up with Carolina Mike, man. CJ, you might need to get up with Carolina Mike. Poppin' Earl, what's good, guys? Clay, get some glass. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, driver? Get some glass? I'm not sure what that means. Are you talking about like smoking crack? Because I've heard that like people call glass crack. Like you trying to tell me to go smoke crack? That's what you trying to tell me right now, driver? It's a family friendly show, man. It's a family friendly show. All right, back to Bryce. Back to this whole ordeal. If you go look at the free agents this year, are coming out quarterback wise, I can find the list. Hold on, because there ain't much, man. NFL free agents 2026. Let's see positions. Offense. No, not positions. Just give me quarterback. So here's your guys. Here's your guys that you can look at for the NFL free agency. Jesus Christ, man. This thing's got more freaking ads on it than anything else. Get glasses? I don't need glasses, man. I don't need glasses. That's for sure, driver. You need to learn how to break down film is what it is, driver. What's up, Supernova? Is what it is. You need to learn how to break down film, my guy. CJ, don't do it. Let Carolina Mike chill with those socks on his own. Oh, yo, those socks, man. Hey, he's looking like a track star out there, bro. Let Carolina Mike be, man. He got his own style. He's looking like a track star out there. But this is your 2026 free agents. The only free agent. Clay, get one of the free ad blockers. I didn't even know you could get those. Didn't even know you could get those. Nah, I rap in the car. CJ's a car singer or a rapper, or probably a shower guy, aren't you, CJ? You're a shower guy. You sing in the shower, rap in the shower. That's me too. That's me too. All right. So looking at this free agents list, man, there's only one guy. There's only a few guys I would take a flyer on. I mean, honestly, if we're looking at this list, I mean, Daniel Jones makes a lot of sense. North Carolina guy, went to Duke, but I think Indy's going to re-sign him after the year he's had. Okay. The only guy that really might give us a good opportunity. I would also take a flyer on Malik Willis. When Jordan Love last year went down, Malik Willis went like 2-1 as a starter and threw for over. I think he had one game where he threw for 300 and another where he threw for over 200 and another one where he threw for over 200. I have to go look at that stretch of games if I'm not mistaken, but had a good stretch of games again. But these are guys that I'm bringing in as bridge guys anyways. Right now, Daniel Jones might not be a bridge guy. Malik Willis would be a bridge guy. Kenny Pickett, bridge guy. Sam Howell. Sam Howell, during Bryce's rookie year, was the most sacked quarterback in the league, and he had better stats than Bryce Young. So there might be something there. Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota is like bringing in a Teddy Bridgewater like he did as we did a couple years ago. All right. Trade candidates. Do you take a trade at Mac Jones? That's exactly my point, CJ. So, do you make a trade for Mac Jones? Look at what Mac Jones has done over there in San Francisco. Now, again, Mac Jones could be just a byproduct of the Shanahan, right? Because of what Kyle Shanahan's able to do with these guys. It's a quarterback-friendly system, just the same way with Kevin O'Connell up in Minnesota. Okay. Maybe you take a trade on that. I don't know. Will Levis is still out there. What's Tennessee doing with Will Levis? Right? Could Will Levis be better than what we saw in Tennessee? Because also we know where how Tennessee is. That's where wide receivers go to die. But it also might be where quarterbacks go to die because they haven't seen really any daylight there since when Derrick Henry was there and when you had oh my God, Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. Maybe you look at trading a Tyson Bagent. Maybe you take a flyer Tyson Bagent. Take Joe Milton. That's an interesting one. You'd have to trade a 3rd round pick for him, like probably. Joe Milton's interesting, but Joe Milton's too much of a. Joe Milton is a little bit. He's like Jameis Winston and Brett Favre times 10. He just slings that motherfucker. He don't care where it goes. He just finds that guy. He feels like he finds that guy, and then he just hammers it like a 90-mile fastball over the middle. But he's got a cannon. Decision making, below average. That's what Joe Milton is. Joe Milton is like Randy Johnson, the baseball player, but has no accuracy. If y'all remember the big Randy Johnson, any baseball knowers remember Randy Johnson? Come on now. But then the 2026 draft class. I know a lot of people have said, well, what about Lenore Sellers? Lenore Sellers ain't coming out. I have a good source. Me being a Gamecock fan, I have a very good source that's in the University of South Carolina, who's in the athletic department there. Who I went to college with. He knows what's going on behind scenes. I've had conversations with him. Lenore Sellers isn't coming out this year. So if anybody thinks that Lenore Sellers is coming out this year, now my source said that he could, but from his understanding, Lenore Sellers isn't coming out. And I know everybody's like loves Lenore Sellers. I love Lenore Sellers. The problem is he needs more rep. He does. Lenore Sellers needs more reps. His dad's also very conservative. His dad's also very big on him staying put because he also turned down a $10 million contract to transfer last year. His dad really wants him to get his education, but there's also been a lot of rumors that he'll transfer to Miami next year, University of Miami, which we know how University of Miami, they're always trying to get, bring in another guy like they did with Carson Beck. Right? Like they did with Cam Ward. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami does try to make that deal. I wouldn't be surprised if Lenore Sellers says, you know what, maybe I should go to Miami, make myself a higher draft pick. I can't, I don't know if I can make myself higher here in South Carolina because the Gamecocks have a turnstile of an offensive line and they have no wide receivers that can create separation. They actually have the same issue that a lot of people believe Carolina has. Which is true. It's kind of interesting, actually. So here's the thing. Lenore Sellers isn't coming out. So go ahead and get that out of the way. Everybody keeps, yelling for Arch Manning. Have you seen Arch Manning this year? Have you seen Arch Manning this year? He's not coming out either. And if he does, he's about as dumb as a bag of rocks. And if his uncle lets him come out this year, as in Peyton Manning and those guys, we might have to have a conversation about how dumb they are too, because Arch ain't it, cuz. So when we go look at this like quarterback draft class, I mean, we're looking at it right now. This is what we've got. I love Lenore Sellers. By the way, he runs faster than a 4.62, just to make that known. Lenore Sellers, if we're talking about NFL prospect, out of all these guys, he blows them off the board. From a physical arm talent standpoint, he blows these guys out of the water. It's not even close. Lenore, think about like Joe Milton and Lenore Sellers can throw the ball about the same distance. Not kidding. But again, you got to give Lenore's has to be better putting the ball where it needs to be. He's got to be better leading his receivers. But he's great with his feet. Right? He's that athletic freak of him and the size, 6'3", 240. That's why a lot of people were calling him like Cam Newton 2.0. He can be Cam Newton 2.0. He needs more reps. Oh, that's good. There you go, guys. We can learn about breastfeeding right here. There we go. Oh, there we go. A little nip action. Must be nice, little guy. All right, let's get that the hell out of here. I mean, these ads, man, what is going on? I just like you could say Garrett Nussmeier, John Mateer, Jalen Daniels, Jaden Mavia, Sam Levitt. But you're drafting those guys, even Lenore Sellers. Lenore Sellers isn't going to go in the first round, even if he did come out this year. He'd be like a second round pick. But most of these guys, even Garrett Nussmeier, John Mateer, Jalen Daniels, Jaden Mavia, Sam Levitt, you're picking those guys between the 2nd and 7th round. Okay, so again, you're just not in a good position to get any of these types. You're just not in a good position to get any of these guys, and you don't want to take them because they need more reps. They need more reps. If you watch college football enough, most of the guys that you're looking at on this screen need more reps. In my opinion. But it is what it is. Dante Moore is probably going to be the best quarterback maybe in this draft class. I mean, Ty Simpson is the best quarterback playing right now in the country. I do agree with what they say here with him. He's the most NFL ready. That's probably true. But Dante Moore has a higher ceiling, in my opinion. Mendoza's tape screams West Coast quarterback. Yeah. Absolutely. Definitely represents him well. That's for sure. It doesn't look good from a draft standpoint, man. Like, it just doesn't. There's just nobody. Like you could have a discussion about some other guys, maybe Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, Mitch Trubisky, Gardner Minshew. But again, if we go back and look at that free agents list, which was what we had pulled up earlier, Daniel Jones is probably the best option of that group, and that's really saying something. But I think the Colts are going to re-sign him, right? Maybe the Colts re-sign Minshew as well, maybe not. But are we really going to talking ourselves into going after maybe Daniel freaking Jones being the savior of our franchise? Because that's the kind of sad conversation this organization might have to actually be happening soon. You know what I mean? Like, even Jones somehow became available. Like, even if Daniel Jones somehow becomes available, what makes anyone think he'll thrive in Carolina's quarterback graveyard? This team chews up and spits out passers faster than they can replace head coaches. But then you look at the trade market. What about trades? You talk about Mac Jones. But then I've seen a lot of people. I've seen some stuff on Twitter, man, with like the whole Kyler Murray thing. I don't know why I keep seeing Kyler Murray being involved with the Carolina Panthers. What good would it be to go after Kyler Murray, who's the same size, just more athletic and run faster, does have a bigger arm? But is Kyler Murray going to take us to the Super Bowl? Could he get us to the playoffs? He's been there. He's been there more times than Bryce has. Then I've seen some people have some fantasy shit on X where they're in this fantasy universe, right? Of going and getting a Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence. That's getting tiring seeing that all over Twitter. Like, I've seen people throw in Tua Tagovailoa. It would be the same up and down inconsistencies. Brock Purdy, game manager, he'd probably be better than Bryce, but he would manage the game better. Could been to a Super Bowl, didn't win it, but he's also having his issues, health issues. That's kind of deterring me away. Then I've seen people say Geno Smith. But I feel like people are saying Geno Smith because of the hell of it, but also because of the familiarity with Dave Canales. We don't have the capital to pull off any of the moves like that anyways. Getting a guy like Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence or even a Kyler Murray would cost a king's ransom. They would come with massive contracts. You'd be giving up half your future to bring in someone who on their best day might only be a slight upgrade over Bryce. There's no version of that trade that makes sense for this roster. Okay? So maybe the Panthers just try to tough it out, wait till 2027. Well, if you go look at 2027, they're like the only quarterbacks I saw on that list worth a damn were Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield, Mac Jones. But by that point, Matthew Stafford's probably on his last leg. Baker Mayfield, who knows where he's at that point. And Mac Jones, he only looks good right now. That's about it. Because Stafford's either going to retire or he's going to ride into the sunset in LA. Baker isn't leaving Tampa. He's finally at home there. Mac Jones, sure, he's a body, but he's not a damn upgrade over Bryce Young just yet because I can't trust Mac Jones to say, well, he's going to be an upgrade over Bryce because, he's killing it in San Francisco, but he's also in a very quarterback friendly offense, right? He sure as hell isn't the spark this team needs. So no matter how you look at it, you're kind of screwed. We're kind of screwed in this quarterback situation, right? This is what happens when organizations keep chasing shortcuts instead of building it from a foundation. And that is all because of Scott Fitter. All of this is because of Scott Fitter. All of it. And David Tepper. Every last bit of what we're talking about, and so far what we talked about tonight, goes back to your GM of last year, or not last year. What, 3 years ago now? Can't even keep up with the times, man. 3 years now. You could thank Scott Fitter for putting us in this situation because he chased shortcuts instead of building a foundation. And he let guys, he basically forced guys out because they chose to walk because of a dysfunctional organization. Brian Burns got traded for a second and a fifth when you could have had 2 first-round picks. You traded up to go get DJ Johnson when you had multiple players there that you could have had over him. He traded the mortgage away for a quarterback. Your owner did that, though. Your owner did that because he wanted to put seats in asses. He wanted to put asses in seats. Sorry. He wanted to put asses in seats. We put all our chips on Bryce Young, and is it over? I don't know, man. I don't want it to be over. That's the problem. Because I know that I said that I feel like it's over because I do feel like it is over, and I hate to say that. But because the reason why I don't want it to be over is because we're screwed. We're screwed if Bryce does not figure it the fuck out the last 7 games of the season. And it's a tough pill to swallow. We're basically relying on this kid now for the rest of the season to really prove us wrong. No, I'm not saying that. You know, for all of you guys that think it's too early to say it's over, it's fair to say that your dreams are on life support. I'll say that. Because if it doesn't work, there's no clean path out, is what I'm getting at. There's no hidden ace up their sleeve. All there's going to be is more pain, more impatience, and a lot of hard decisions no one in that building seems ready to make. And if they're allowed to make, that's another thing we got to think about. Will Dan Morgan and Dave Canales be able to choose their own quarterback? Will they be able to do that? Will David Tepper actually step out of the way and let these guys actually do what they do best? Even Brant Tillis. Brant Tillis has to say in this as well. Unless something changes drastically with Bryce Young, where he breaks both of my arms and throws for like multiple 300-yard games, and we somehow finish the season like 9-8, this team, if that happens, great. But I truly doubt it. This team right now is stuck where it's been for years, and we're back to square one once again, searching for a quarterback. And we got people around us pretending like we're not. That's the problem. That is the problem. Mafia Cal, what's up, man? Vibe with the art, what's up? Underground West, what's good, man? Appreciate you coming through. Dark Mythic, I've seen your comment a couple times. What's good, man? Appreciate you coming through. Kitty, you're calmer today, Clay. Yeah, man, what's the point of yelling at this point, man? You get used to you at this point. You got to just quit yelling and getting mad about it, and we just got to be honest with ourselves. We got people in the chat though, just that still believe in Bryce. Until I need to be proven wrong. And again, until proven otherwise, I'm out on Bryce. Until proven otherwise, I'm out on Bryce. Because now, again, we do need to have a conversation about our head coach and Dave Canales. We do need to have that conversation. Because I saw a bunch of red flags and he didn't do anything about those problems that I saw. It wasn't just the players who dropped the ball. The complacency ran deeper than that, okay? And again, this head-scratching loss to the New Orleans Saints, to me, chat, to me, and I'll get to some more news here in a minute. I really want to have this rant real quick about, because this was about focus, professionalism, just the lack of edge in this game. Somewhere between the positive press clippings, the sudden sense that they had arrived, the Panthers took their eye off the damn ball. They paid for it. Several players didn't bother hiding it either. You had Ike Ekwonu, Nick Scorton, Jadavion Sanders all hinted at the energy leading up to the game wasn't right. Derek Brown too. And all of them were calling players out for preparation. And they said, and they said the practices felt off. They said the urgency wasn't there. They said guys were smiling, coasting, assuming they could just show up on Sunday, handle business, and then they get slapped in the fucking mouth. Now, Dave Canales, to his credit, noticed the warning signs. He mentioned it to the team. He talked about raising the standard, but let's be real, nothing changed. The message didn't land. It just went out one ear and out the other. That's the issue. Complacency hit this team like a truck. And Canales even admitted that his guys let their standards slip. He told the reporters that practices during the week weren't up to par. There was no tempo. There was not in focus, not in execution. Right? Okay, that's a fair point that you make. Football's weird like that. But here's the thing. This wasn't just one bad practice. This is a mindset problem, in my opinion. Right? We started basically this team started believing in their own hype after a few good weeks, and they forgot that success in the NFL is fragile as hell. It's built and then it's rebuilt every single week. Some of these players have never been a part of a team that actually sustained winning. So the moment they sniffed a little momentum, they got comfortable. They got cocky. They thought beating the Saints, a division rival with with real fight would be easy. And that arrogance smacked them in the face. And it sounds like to me, Canales tried to warn them, but it was too late. See, Canales knew what was happening. He tried to crank up that intensity. He tried to push the buttons. He tried to remind everyone what it takes to win in this league. But judging by what I saw in this last game, those efforts didn't stick. So what came out on that field was flat, sloppy football. These kinds of performances, that screams, we thought we could coast, to me. This also was a result of a gut-punching loss that kept this Panthers from getting 2 games over 500, a milestone that would have been huge for a young team trying to find its identity. Now, the only silver lining was the fact that the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost the same weekend, which means Carolina didn't lose any ground in the NFC South race. They basically dodged a bullet. But let's be honest, that was pure luck there. If they keep screwing around like this, the luck's going to run out. If we lose to Atlanta, someone might be fired from this coaching staff. Team probably turning against Bryce. Who knows, bro? I just got a minute ad. Not sure what you mean by that. You might have. Sometimes that happens. I don't know. You do realize Canales is working without a quarterback, right? I do. I do realize that. How the hell can they be hyped knowing the golden child is their quarterback? D-Mac, I know. But see, that's when I told you guys that the run game, Rico Dowdle resurgence, and the resurgence of this defense was hiding just one crack. And that crack was Bryce Young. But see, this is a time for a reality check for this team. This game should be a massive wake-up call for this team. For everyone in that organization, from the owner all the way down to the damn janitor. I don't care. See, I'll say this. Some of our fans aren't stupid. Some are just fucking retarded, let's be honest. But they can see when a team's not locked in. After hearing players admit that the preparation wasn't there where it needed to be, people have every right to be pissed. Everybody should be pissed. Winning in the NFL isn't about getting comfortable, man. It's about maintaining it week in and week out. That's the standard. You can't fake hunger. You can't fake discipline. The minute you start believing you made it, you're already on the way down. I've always been a big believer, and if anybody remembers this, it was the NBA Finals. I can't remember. It was when the Lakers were in the NBA Finals. Kobe Bryant's my favorite player of all time. R.I.P. And they were like, "You're not smiling," in the interview. I think this was like 2008. I think it was 2008. Does that seem right? That sticks out to me in my mind. 2008. I think. They go, "You're not smiling." He goes, "Well, the job's not done yet." That is a different mentality than I feel like we're getting from this team. Right? Like, that's the mentality you have to have. Just because you're 500 or above 500, you win some good games. The minute you think that the job is done, it's not. And that is the huge issue. That's a huge mindset issue. 2011. Thank you, Underground West. Hey, I don't know what Logic does there. Kitty. I don't know what he does there. I know he works there, I think, but I don't know what he does. So I wasn't taking a shot at him. You can't fake discipline. You can't fake hunger. The minute you start believing you made it, you're already on the way down. The job's not done. Just like Kobe said. You didn't win the Super Bowl. The job's not done. You had some good wins. Whoopie fucking do. And I'll say this, Canales has done a lot of good things for this team. He's brought the energy, the structure. He's brought a fresh identity. But this was on him too. When your team tunes out your message, that's a leadership test. Next time, if he doesn't step in harder or sooner, they won't be so lucky. They won't be so lucky. But let's also talk about Dave Canales because there's something else I found pretty interesting here. Now, Dave came out and said that what is he? Kitty, you ain't shit. Jesus. Driver too much, man. Driver too much. So Dave Canales has some true feelings about the Panthers offense. It finally came out. The mask finally slipped off. Maybe it needed to, because for weeks Canales has been cool, composed when talking about this offense. Calm tone, steady in his message. I feel like he's never too high, nor is he ever too low. But after this last week, that calm exterior cracked a little bit. Like what we saw, on Sunday wasn't just another frustration of an offensive performance. It was an offense that flat out got exposed. Like the Saints didn't have to do anything fancy. They didn't. They just came in with a smart, ruthless plan. They shut down the run. They forced Bryce Young to beat him through the air, and they made the Panthers receivers into one-on-one mismatches. Simply, it was effective, and it worked. It worked to perfection. Like you go watch the tape. Bryce looked young, uncomfortable, hesitant. The timing was off. Rushing throws. The awareness wasn't there. He wasn't letting plays play out for him to even go through his reads. He wasn't even going through his reads. He was one read quarterback. You could see that in this game when you watch the film. But as you watch the game dragged on, and as I was watching film, you could feel, and I was watching, like I was getting frustrated just watching it myself and going back and watching the game film because of all that. And it's not just on the field, but it's through like every fan watching at home thinking, here we go again. Now, some of you, like I know a few in the chat who are still Bryce Young believers, are like, no, that's not it. That's not what happened. Blah, 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 blah. The Panthers offense wasn't just bad. It was predictable. It was static. It was painfully cautious. And the Saints smell blood. Okay. But the numbers paint an ugly picture, man. Now, I'm going to get to more of this here, what you're seeing on the screen, because according to Sharp Analytics, according to Sharp Analytics, the Panthers' explosive play rate sits at a 4.5% this season. That means only 4.5% of our offensive plays gain 20 yards or more, which in NFL team terms is just flat out pathetic. So for perspective, that's the same number as the San Francisco 49ers, but that's misleading as hell because San Francisco can turn it on whenever they want. The only teams worse than us are the Cleveland Browns and, ironically, the New Orleans Saints, the team that just embarrassed us. Meanwhile, the Seahawks, led by a former Carolina Panther quarterback in Sam Darnold, is leading the league at 8.6%. So let that sink in. This offense is just stuck in quicksand, man. There's no amount of trust, the process, speeches can hide it anymore. And Dave Canales finally admits the obvious when he stepped on the podium after that loss. Normally upbeat and relentlessly positive, as he always is. But this time, I felt like when I watched that press conference after that game on Sunday, we saw a little bit more edge. Someone asked him about the lack of explosive plays for once. If you've seen the clips, he didn't sugarcoat it. It was brief. It was polite, but between the lines, you could hear he's frustrated. This coach, this coach is speaking from frustration. He goes, we can't execute he's basically telling me from what I was seeing on his face is that we can't execute the damn plays I want to run. And honestly, that's not wrong. The problem isn't just the play calling, it's the execution. When your quarterback doesn't trust his reads, and when your receivers apparently can't create separation, when your offensive line can't seem to block, even though the film says otherwise, the whole system crumbles. You see how it was going like this? Because the receivers are creating separation, because they rank top, and I've got I've got things to prove it. They ranked in top 13 in creating separation among wide receivers in all of the NFL. So out of 32 teams, they ranked 13th in the NFL of separation. It's not top 10, but it's not bottom 20. You're not bottom in the league. The offensive line, Bryce has only been sacked 14 times in 10 games. So what am I missing? What am I missing? Because the stats don't lie, the ball don't lie. I do think Canales is. So I do think Canales. Maybe that's not a bad thing, like what he's doing, but maybe the team needs to see their coach who that isn't smiling through this storm, right? Again, this performance has now, this whole performance, we all know, has reignited the whole debate surrounding Bryce Young's future in Carolina. I am one of the fans that's already thrown the towel in, even though I don't want to, because I want it to work. Because of what I'm looking at from free agency in this next year's draft class. Gonna have to I feel like I'm gonna have to wait a whole nother year to get another quarterback, basically in 2027, especially from a draft standpoint, especially since we're talking about building this thing from the ground up, just like the way Dan Morgan wants to do it. Can we get Dave Canales the quarterback he wants and not the one that was given to him? Because at this point, I think that for most of us in this chat, besides maybe a few, are convinced that Bryce Young's just not it, right? I think a lot of people are clinging on to the patience and pointing out that he's still learning and adapting. And I get that side of it too. People have valid points. But one truth stands out. Bryce Young has limitations. And they're becoming harder to ignore. He's a solid game manager, smart, poised, accurate in rhythm. But when things go sideways, when the run game stalls out, protection breaks down, he doesn't take over the damn game gear. He doesn't have that, unlike other quarterbacks are. The difference between good quarterbacks and average quarterbacks or below average quarterbacks, the good quarterbacks, and I'm not even just talking about elites, I'm just saying even the good quarterbacks, they have that gear, at least some of it. They're also able to make something out of nothing. That's the difference. Bryce can't. He's never going to be that quarterback, one of those freaking quarterbacks who can just single-handedly drag a team to victory. He's never done it. He's not a Patrick Mahomes. He's not a Josh Allen. He's not a Lamar Jackson. He's not a Joe Burrow. He's not a Matthew Stafford. Hell, he's not even a Jalen Hurts. And there's a lot of debate going around Jalen Hurts. He's not a CJ Stroud, who should have been drafted here in Carolina. He's not a Baker Mayfield. Hell, he's not a Sam Darnold. But I said it before and I'll say it again. That doesn't mean he can't be really good. He just can't be really good in Carolina. You put him in the right system with the right weapons and a line that doesn't fold, Go put him up in Minnesota. See what happens. Go put him in San Francisco. See what happens. Go put him up in Green Bay. See what happens. Hell, put him in Detroit's offense. See what happens. Again, the system does matter, but the talent also has to be put on display as well. So maybe he just will play better somewhere else. Wouldn't surprise me because that seems to be the case with Carolina anyways. But the question is, if Canales is going to be the long-term head coach here, the question now does become, who fits in Dave Canales' long-term plan as a quarterback, right? Can he go get and find that guy? That's a good question. Right? I mean, the offense is, you could tell this offense is missing something. Like, everyone feels it. You can see it in the play calling. When Young starts slow, Canales' script tightens up fast, showing the short passes, the safe calls dominate, as if this staff's afraid of a turnover. Like, that's not confidence. That's just survival mode. It's not like the pieces aren't trying. Like, the offensive line has improved. The receivers are doing what they can. The run game flashes at times, but it's just all inconsistent as hell. 1 week, they look balanced. The next, they look like they're running uphill in mud. There's something missing. There's something missing. The spark, that edge, that moment where you feel like the offense could actually scare someone. Right now, defenses are comfortable. They know what Carolina can't burn you deep. Until that changes, nothing else will. Now, there's still time on the clock. It's ticking. I mean, all hope. Again, you still got the rest of this season to figure it out. The pieces are there for this thing to work. I truly believe that. I think the pieces are there, at least there to function better than this mess we saw against the Saints. Like, the NFL doesn't wait around for anyone. Canales has to figure out how to make defenses respect your quarterback's arm. Like, if Dave Canales is holding Bryce Young back and not letting him sling it, fuck it. Just let him sling it. Who cares? I'd rather see Bryce go out there and throw 20 yards past the line, 20 plus yards. If he hits some guys, great. If he makes a mistake, so what? I'd rather him go down than just to go out there and see him throw these checkdowns and just try to manage the game, because that's not working. I would just like for him to go out there and sling it. Find ways to make this kid generate some explosive plays, whether through some smarter designs, more aggressiveness, or, like I said, just say fuck it and let just Bryce Young sling it. If he fucks up, he fucks up. If he goes out there and balls out, he balls out. Who cares? I'd rather see some fight and go down that way than to see what I saw against the New Orleans Saints. Flat and non-aggressive. I'd rather just do that. I'd rather go out there and fight and let Bryce Young sling it than to go down the way we did against the New Orleans Saints. Again, if he goes out there and messes up, he goes out there and messes up. Who knows? Maybe he goes out there and he throws for 300 yards, but then he throws for 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Okay, so what? Did it win the game? Okay, great. I'd rather see that. Hell, if he throws 3 picks, I don't care as long as we win the game. If he becomes Jameis Winston, a gunslinger, let him. I don't care if he has 5 touchdowns and 5 picks in a game. If it wins the damn game, I'd rather go down with a fight than watch what I saw this past Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. I'd rather watch Bryce sling it. Canales needs to find ways to generate explosive plays, whether it's, again, through some smarter designs, being more aggressive, or just saying, fuck it, let Bryce sing it. Because if this team keeps daring, because here's the thing, teams are going to keep daring the Panthers to throw. That's not going to change now. And if that's the case, it's going to get ugly and ugly fast if Canales doesn't start being more aggressive. But you can look at the frustration from Dave Canales, and it tells you everything that you know. I think the mask is off, and I think reality is really setting in. Because this isn't about growing pains anymore. It's about survival. It's about this offense. It's about Bryce Young, and maybe even for this Dave Canales' reputation. That's what it's about. So this is the next thing I was reading on. This is Matt Harmon. I think he's with PFF, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, he's with Yahoo. So he's a football writer analyst for Yahoo. And he posted this tweet out, right? And he reveals why Bryce Young is struggling deep. Or at least this is what he believes. Okay. Josh Norris, he wrote this tweet, says this extends to the intermediate section of the field, 10 to 19 yards. So week 8 to 18 in 2024, this was Bryce Young. Third in attempts percentage. Okay. And this is for 10 to 19 yard throws. This is last year when we saw that resurgence from Bryce. Third in attempt percent, 6th in big time throw rate, 17th in adjusted completion percentage. Okay. Look down at week 1 through week 10. 19th in attempt percentage, 15th in big time throw rate, 26th in adjusted completion. All right. So Matt Harmon comes in and responds and says, especially not ideal for Carolina because their wide receiver 1 is pretty much a near exclusive X receiver who runs a very downfield route tree that doesn't feature a ton of quick hitters. T-Mac then needs to be perfect when he does get the ball. He's made some rookie mistakes at the catch point. Beyond that, wide receiver 2 is a nothing burger. They don't get Coker the ball enough. There's a lack of speed beyond some flashes from Jimmy Horn Jr. on design plays. I think I still personally like the way the offense is constructed overall. Now, according to PFF, we are still ranked 5th in the NFL right now. According to PFF, we are still ranked 5th in the NFL for big time throw rate. That means passes traveling 20 plus yards. So when Bryce actually takes a shot, he's hitting it. The issue is they're 31st in deep ball attempt percentage. In plain English, ladies and gentlemen, they've stopped trying. You see why I was leading up to all this, why I was talking about Dave Canales, then I was leading up to all this. There's a method to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. The deep ball was once a glimmer of hope in an otherwise boring horizontal offense and has basically been deleted. So the question then was because obvious. Why the hell can't Bryce get the deep ball passing? Well, again, you got Matt Harmon here, right? All right. So basically, what he's saying here is it's not like a death sentence for a young wideout in Tre'von McMillan is what he's saying. He's saying he's shown flashes. He's got some got some highlights, but there's no consistency with him. But that's being a rookie, okay? But what he's also saying is that the passing game is basically Tre'von McMillan or bust. Like, I truly believe Jalen Coker should be a more regular part of this offense. I think he's being completely underused. The guy's reliable. He's smart. He runs Chris routes, but for some reason, the Panthers keep treating him like an afterthought. But again, I've watched film. Bryce has missed him multiple times. Bryce was a one read guy against the New Orleans Saints. You could see it. Same thing with Xavier Legette. I know that Xavier Legette's been one of the biggest disappointments of the season, but the team keeps force feeding him the ball, hoping he'll actually eventually break out. But it's not just not happening. He's not there's times where he's winning routes, but then there's times he's not. And I've watched tape. Okay. But there is times when he is winning routes and Bryce is not seeing him because Bryce is only a run read quarterback right now. Why that is, I can't figure it out. And he's rushing his throws. So the separation and winning routes isn't just Xavier does have his issues with that, but it's not as much as people think. Not as much as Matt Harmon thinks either. But when he does but the problem is when XL does get his opportunity, he's not making the most of them. Right? Then you see Matt Harmon talk about Jimmy Horn Jr. He has the speed to change the game for sure. He's a legit burner, but they only use him on gadget plays. They're not scheming him open deep, which there were a few plays where I saw where Canales did try to scheme him open deep. But again, Bryce is not seeing him and not reading there. He's not going through his progressions. Bryce is a one-read quarterback. At least he was against the Saints. Another thing they're not doing with Jimmy Horn Jr. is they're not using motion to create mismatches. They're not doing stuff that would make defenses actually respect his presence. So what happens is defenses just sit on short routes knowing damn well there's no real threat over the top. There's no creativeness from our offensive play calling. They're not putting our wide receivers in the best situations to succeed. And maybe that's another case you can make for Bryce. That's why I'm so back and forth. Bryce has to be better for sure. And again, I do think it's over. Again, until proven otherwise. But we've got more issues than just Bryce. It goes to this coaching staff. It goes to setting up these players and putting them in the right situations to succeed. It also should be put on Dave Canales. That is the honest to God truth. This offense is built right. It's just not working. To be fair, Harmon even just said in this tweet, he doesn't think the Carolina's roster's construction is a total disaster. In fact, he says the personnel fits the system on paper. The problem is the execution, plain and simple. That's why I'm talking about Bryce the way I've been talking about it. That he ain't executing. He's not going through his reads. He's not going through his progressions. He's rushing his throws. He's a one-read quarterback. Plain and simple. The execution's not there. But again, your head coach is not putting these players in the best situation to succeed from a wide receiver standpoint. And he's not getting creative, and he's not being aggressive enough for this offense to succeed. When this offense is going high tempo, like we saw last year, this offense was able to get in a rhythm. Everyone is just out of sync. Everything is off. The timing, the spacing, all of it. I understand that the quarterback has not been executing. He's just one piece of the puzzle as well. But he's also the one who could also be paying the price. You can't throw deep if your receivers aren't being put in the best situations to succeed going deep. Your line is protecting Bryce Young. We see that. The offensive line is not the issue. People who believe that the offensive line is the issue, you need to get out of your head that this offensive line, even without Robert Hunt and all the injuries we've had, has been at least a top 15 offensive line. And that's even with the injuries. When it's not with the injuries, it's top 10. But Bryce is not holding on the going through his progression, going through his read. He's not letting these routes develop. He's rushing his pass, and he's a one-read quarterback, and he's not executing. When your best deep threat is your rookie wide receiver who's still learning how to consistently win at the catch point, no wonder things look broken. It's all on T-Mac or bust. But Bryce has also got to be better because guys are getting open. It's not the separation issue. There are times where guys are getting separated, even though it's not a creative and aggressive route running. And there are times, like I was saying, that this coaching staff does not put these players in successful positions. But there is times that, like I said, Bryce is missing them. And it's more than just one time. It's multiple. Especially in the Saint games. It was about almost every offensive drive. So no wonder things look broken. So again, I just think that if anything, Dave Canales just needs to let Bryce Young sling it. And if he fails, he fails. I'd rather see him go down swinging than not at all. That is one thing I'm going to say to finish that. But then, in some other news, let's talk about a former NFL player rips Bryce Young to shreds and calls him pathetic. Mark Schlereth. Shout out to Mike K and Panthers 24/7. If you've seen this clip, I don't know if you have. If you haven't, all good. He's the one he was calling the game on Sunday, and this is what he thought about the game.
You can really tell what a team thinks of you based upon the way they play you. And one of the things Staley did is he brought edge pressure consistently. Alontae Taylor blitzed a bunch. He had a bunch of corner type blitzes off the edge. And what he was doing was saying, hey, man, we're going to take you away from the running game. So if you're pushing that way, you automatically have to, cut back because here comes an unblocked guy off the edge. So you're basically adding defenders into the box, adding defenders at the point of attack in the running game. And I thought they dialed that up on a consistent basis. They did it time and time and time again. And so when you're doing that, what are you saying to what are you saying to the offense? What's your defense indicating how your coach feels about this offense? And what that is we're going to give you one-on-one opportunities outside the numbers. And we don't think your quarterback can handle it. We don't think your quarterback's good enough to beat us. The New Orleans Saints at 1-8 came in on the road to the Carolina Panthers and said the only way you can beat us is Rico Dowdle being big-time performer, and we're going to take him out of this game. Your quarterback does not have what it takes to beat us at 1-8. That's exactly what they said. Exactly what they said. And you know what? They were 100% correct. That passing game was pathetic.
Let that sink in, chat. One win Saints teams walks into Charlotte. Bryce Young to win the game with his arm, left with a comfortable victory. They stacked the box. They suffocated Rico Dowdle and said, all right, kid, let's see what you got. The answer was not much. So the Saints gave him chances. He just blew them. This wasn't a case of Bryce Young being pressured all game or the offensive line being completely collapsed. The wide receivers create separation. He actually had his moments to make plays. He had clean pockets. He had one-on-one matchups. He had chances to move the chains. He just didn't deliver. We saw the game film. I've broken the game film twice on this channel this week. Once in a live on Monday, another one on a short yesterday. The accuracy wasn't there. The timing was off. There was a lot of forced throws. There was a lot of forced throws, but one reads. Even when these receivers were getting separations, the throws either came late or they sailed wide, and you continue to have drives stalled and the momentum finished. The Saints exposed Bryce Young, plain and simple. What makes it worse is that the Saints didn't have to do anything exotic. They didn't have any tricky coverages. They didn't have any confusing blitz packages. They had no special adjustments. They just played smart. They played fundamental football, like your head coach loves to talk about, and said, you're not good enough to make us pay for it. And they were right again. And so was Mark Schlereth. Plain and simple, man. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. It was one of the most pathetic passing efforts this team has had in years. That's saying a lot, considering how low the bar has been recently. We've been next to nothing. We've managed next to nothing through the air. Every drive looked the same. Short dump off here, check down there, maybe a screen that lost 3 yards, followed by an inevitable 3rd and long disaster. It was lifeless football, man. It was a harsh reality. Rico Dowdle was bottled up, but that's what happens when defenses don't fear your quarterback. The Saints loaded up the box because they knew Bryce Young couldn't make them pay for it. It was so simple. And when the game demanded Bryce to rise to the moment, to hit those one-on-one throws, to show some damn command of the offense, he just did it, and he can't. He's had better games this year for sure. He's shown flashes that makes you think there's something still there. I get it. But Sunday was definitely not one of those days, ladies and gentlemen. That Sunday was a regression. That was a painful reminder that nobody, no matter how polished or cerebral Bryce Young that people think he is, he's still not there yet. He's just not. All right, let's get into some news. Let's finish up with the news. Got some news to talk about here. This is not good news. Rico Dowdle did not practice today. That's about as bad as it gets for this team right now. You could make a strong argument that Dowdle is probably the most important player on your team, especially offensively. Losing him even temporary would be a gut punch to a team that's, we're kind of skating on thin ice right now. But did sideline again, did not participate in practice, tagged immediately, actually. This is his second straight week missing Wednesday session, which is typically when veterans and banged up started to get some rest. But last week they chalked it up to a precautionary rest after that, brutal physical win against Green Bay. But a game where Dowdle got knocked around, still fought through it, thought he pulled his groin. But this feels a little bit different because Dowdle didn't look right last Sunday against the Saints. His usual burst wasn't there. He struggled to get anything going against the Saints. And if we're being honest, Dowdle didn't look like himself in that game, to be honest with you. I thought he looked stiff. He looked slower to make cuts. He's definitely nursing something, whether it's a groin or a hamstring. The good news is, according to Steve Reed, the Panthers don't think it's serious. I think even Joe Persons came out and said some of that. They don't expect it to be serious, but Joe Persons also said that he should be back on Thursday, which means this is likely more pain management. So keeping him fresh than him having a major setback. Still, the fact is that he's dealing with lingering issues, and the Panthers can't afford to lose him. And it definitely makes me as a fan, it's hard for me not to worry. But, let's be honest. If Dowdle goes down, this offense is kind of completely screwed unless Chuba Hubbard can somehow have some type of resurgence. He's been the engine that could. He's the one that's been keeping this mess of an offense from falling apart. But when Bryce Young in the passing game goes cold, which has happened obviously a lot, and more than we truly can want, right? It's been Dowdle who bails them out. So he's not just the most reliable offense player. He's basically been the damn entire identity of this offense. So, over the last month, you go look at Dowdle's workload. He has exploded. He's taken on heavy touches. He's fought through contact. He carried this team when everything, when everything else looks broken. But that kind of usage always comes with a price, especially for a back who runs violently as he does. So, yeah, it's not shocking that he's dealing with a few tweaks. It's the NFL. You don't get out of November without something hurting. But with how razor thin our margins is for error, every bump and bruise to Dowdle feels like a fire alarm going off. If he actually misses some time, I'd say forget it. This offense would fall apart faster than a cheap launch here. But the rest of the injury report, Derek Brown's knee issue is not serious or related to his last year's surgery, so we expect him to be back at practice tomorrow, so Thursday. Lathan Ransom had hand surgery yesterday, but apparently he could possibly play versus Atlanta. Unfortunate news, though, Trevin Wallace is week to week due to that shoulder injury. They also announced today that he will not be playing against the Atlanta Falcons this week. So for a team that's already seen some key contributors land on the injury reserve, a few more gut punches with some guys, man, this week's report could have been a lot worse. But Trevin Wallace being out is not ideal, especially how the linebacker room's been. But Dowdle's name sitting there at the top does. When you go look at the injury report, his name's at the top. But it does make it hard to feel optimistic. So, again, this is a crucial week. I mean, the timing couldn't be worse with all of this. You've got another divisional matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. You beat them 30-0 the first time around. You can't tell me that they haven't got that game circled on their calendar since then. So, and that loss that they just had to the Indianapolis Colts, they're hungry, right? That's a team that is very hungry. They're 3-6, So you better believe that this rematch is going to be something that they've had that thing circled since that 30-0 loss. Nothing more for that Atlanta Falcons team that would make them happy is to beat us. But what would make me no more than happier is unless we go to home and go to their own territory and beat them. But because to have any shot against and with this injury report like this, to have any shot against Atlanta, you're going to need Rico Dowdle on the field. Point blank period. Point blank period. So, obviously I'll be monitoring this injury report throughout the week. We'll definitely continue to look at it as we go throughout the week. Obviously, once we get to my preview and prediction live stream, when we break down the Atlanta game this week, we'll see what the injury report looks like. But hopefully we can get Dowdle back up to full speed. Good news about Derek Brown. Unfortunate news about Tre'von Wallace, and we'll see if Lathan Ransom's good to go. So, well, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. What a hell of an episode. Been on here for over an hour and 30 minutes. Guys, all I ask is you make sure you pound that like button, hit that subscribe button. We've got over 60 plus people watching here. Do me a favor, make sure you do that. It's only a few clicks away. It's all free. It goes a long way. So yeah, just make sure you like, subscribe, and click that post notifications bell. So you don't miss out on new content. Again, I appreciate you guys as always. Again, as simple as that. And other than that, guys, I will see you Friday. I got more content coming out to you guys this week. I'll have a bunch of more shorts. I'm going to do my week 9 picks. Okay. I might do some power rankings. And I got some Carolina Panthers shorts coming out to you guys as well. And then, of course, Friday, we will have the preview and prediction live stream for the Panthers versus the Falcons this week. So see you guys on Friday live. Other than that, guys, y'all have fun, be safe. God bless you. And as always, y'all know what to do. Keep pounding. I'm out. Peace.